After Monday Night Raw went off the air, everybody was very excited about the segment that we just watched with Cody Rhodes and The Rock. The feeling was different. It looked different. There was blood on WWE television that they did not shy away from. What does this actually mean? Is WWE set to introduce more color to Monday nights and Friday nights? I got the latest on how loose they're going to be with blood on their programming right here on OTS. Dana Brooke embarrasses herself. Who? Dana Brooke. Yes, you guys know Dana Brooke, man. She embarrasses herself on social media saying Tiffany Stratton stole her Swanton bomb. Maybe we need to bring Dana Brooke into a classroom and teach her who exactly invented the Swanton bomb. Kenny Omega likely to undergo surgery for diverticulitis. And what are the plans for Rey and Dominic Mysterio heading into WrestleMania 40? All this and more on Off the Script. We'll start with Rey and Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania 40. Dominic is slated for a match. From what we saw on Friday night last week, things could obviously change tonight going into SmackDown. But after Friday night last week, it looks like Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio will rekindle their feud going into WrestleMania 40. I personally am not excited for that because even though we've seen little hints and doses of the animosity between Rey and Dominic after their match last year throughout this year, it wasn't really under a spotlight for it to be a WrestleMania match again for a second year in a row. But what are the plans for both men this year? Santos Escobar. He brought in Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza for Legado del Fantasma. The LWO was made up of Mysterio, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, who were the old members of Legado del Fantasma, Carlito, and Zelina Vega. The both factions have been feuding. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer pointed out Dominic getting involved in Escobar's win over Rey Mysterio last week on SmackDown felt like the start of a renewed rivalry. Meltzer added Rey and Dominic in some form are currently planned to work in a match, but it's not clear how many others are involved at WrestleMania. Now, it's been long rumored that Dominic and Rey Mysterio will wrestle at WrestleMania or should have wrestled at WrestleMania last year under a gimmick match. I wonder if we're going to get the gimmick match this year. The gimmick match was mask versus hair. Now, it could certainly fit, but I don't think that's where WWE is going with this. There are a bunch of other moving parts. I thought we were going to get Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar after this long time that Rey Mysterio was out. I thought we were going to get that match one-on-one, grudge match, at WrestleMania. WWE already gave it to us on Friday night. Now, I know under a bigger stage, or on a bigger stage, that they'd actually go out there and kill it. But I don't really give a shit to see the match again after we just got it on Friday night. So my line of thinking is, and this isn't something that I'm particularly excited about as well, I think what WWE is going to do here, I think they're going to give us a tag team match of sorts. I think we're going to get Santos and Dominic teaming up at WrestleMania because you're not going to leave Santos Escobar off of the WrestleMania card. I don't think Triple H is going to do that. Santos and Dominic versus Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee at WrestleMania. Dragon Lee is her storyline, the guy that's going to take over when Rey is not there. He's the next coming of Rey Mysterio. I think with what Santos and Dragon Lee have been doing, it's been very mid. I mean, giving them the stage at WrestleMania to go out there and have the match that we should have gotten. I mean, the last time they were in the ring, they went 90 seconds. I mean, it was ridiculous. But that also brought Rey Mysterio back to television. It was a big angle at the end of the show or at the end of the match. I think that's where they're going. Again, I'm not particularly excited about that. I would rather see Rey and Dominic in a gimmick match. But then again, we seen that last year. And WWE's not going to leave Santos Escobar off of the WrestleMania card. I think that would be fucked up. So I think they're going to go the tag team route here. Dominic doesn't really have much going on outside of the Judgment Day while everybody in the Judgment Day is busy at WrestleMania. I think Dominic needs something to do, and they're going to give him this tag team match with his father at WrestleMania. So let me know what you guys think about that. We may find more out on this tonight on SmackDown. Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke, man. Oh, my goodness. Here I am in 2024 doing a video on a news story about Dana Brooke. Now, Dana Brooke is in TNA. She goes by the name Ash by Elegance, or what I like to coin, Trash by Elegance. She claims Tiffany Stratton steals everybody's moves and gimmicks. Really now? That's great. Tiffany Stratton signed with WWE in 2021 after being trained by Greg Gagne. She won the NXT Women's Championship, where she held the title for 107 days at NXT Battleground in 2023 before losing it to Becky Lynch last September. She worked the Women's Royal Rumble match, where she entered number 29 and lasted up until the Final Four, when she got eliminated earlier this year before being called up to the main roster, where she has done very well for herself. Everybody loves some Tiffy time. As seen on social media yesterday, Dana Brooke, who now goes by the name Trash by Elegance, has an issue with Stratton after a fan said in response to a clip of her hitting a swanton bomb that was probably seen by 7 people that Stratton does it better than she does. This fan said Stratton does the swanton bomb better than Ash, Trash by Elegance, which she does. She then accused Stratton of stealing everyone's moves and gimmicks. The former WWE star then added that Tiffany Stratton was a knockoff Barbie doll. Stratton has yet to respond. I am not going to make a bet here that Stratton will respond to Trash by Elegance. Listen. First of all, where do I even begin here? How long has Dana Brooke been pro wrestling? How long has she been wrestling? About 15 years or so now, probably, give or take. I don't know, maybe shorter than that. I don't. Who's counting? Is there a Dana Brooke fan out there that models themselves after Dana Brooke? Man, I'm getting into the business because of Dana Brooke. Listen, Dana Brooke was fired because she wasn't good enough. Dana Brooke was fired because she has no charisma. Dana Brooke was fired because she's cheesy. She's not a good pro wrestler. She doesn't have anything to offer. And from what I have been told, because I don't watch TNA, she's just as bad, if not worse now. Everything that you saw on WWE television, she took to TNA and didn't even bother getting better. It's just a shittier gimmick. Now, if we really want to bury Dana Brooke, because she came out and said, well, I was in character. You guys can't understand when someone's in character and when it's real life. I was in character. Yeah, sure you were. Yeah, after everybody flamed you on social media, then you say you were in character. Sure thing. Why do you give a shit about what Tiffany Stratton's doing? Why do you care what moves Tiffany Stratton? Shouldn't you be worried about your own moveset and you getting better? Or are you just upset that Tiffany Stratton's come along in 2.5 years and has eclipsed everything you've done in 20? I'm sorry. Here's a little knowledge for you, Dana, or Trash by Elegance. A simple Google search would have yielded you the answer to your question. Who invented the Swanton Bomb? The Swanton Bomb was created by the great Sasuke, Japanese legend, which was then adopted here in America for the American pro wrestling audience by Jeff Hardy, who made it the move that it is today, that is influencing new and upcoming superstars year over year over year. So who exactly are you to say anybody stealing your moves? Dana Brooke is in the annals of pro wrestling history as the innovator that she is, man. Oh, man, that's something that I'm not. No, listen, man, we learn something new every day here, man. We learn something new every day when we're on social media talking about pro wrestling, man. Nobody is influenced by Trash by Elegance, okay? Everybody probably took the move from Jeff Hardy or thinks Jeff Hardy invented it. It was the great Sasuke, which was then given way to Jeff Hardy, who made it popular here in North America. If anything, Tiffany Stratton learned it from Jeff Hardy because that's who she grew up watching. Maybe TNA needs to remove the trash and put it out on the end of the driveway. Garbage. Ridiculous. Anybody watching her on TV, man, I guarantee you're picking up the remote control and doing the same thing you did when she was on Monday and Friday, changing the fucking channel. Moving on, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega will likely undergo surgery for diverticulitis. The last time we saw Kenny Omega was on December 13th. He could have gotten a blood infection. He didn't know what was going on. If he wasn't diagnosed at the time that he was, which would have given him 50% chance of death. It's crazy. At the time of the diagnosis, Omega had been paired with Chris Jericho on AEW television, and then they were building to a match against Ricky Starks and Big Bill at World's End for the pay-per-view and the AEW World Tag Team Championships, which I'm assuming Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho would have won. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that while no decision has been made, it looks more likely than not that Kenny Omega will be getting surgery on his intestines. He's had his ups and downs, but has largely been dealing with a good amount of pain for months now. Omega said the surgery is becoming more likely after two doctors told him that it was the best option. Meltzer added that it's not 100% that he will have surgery, but it's looking more likely, particularly if he wants to get into the condition to resume his career, that he will probably need to get rid of the perforated sections of his intestine and colon, end quote. Due to the ongoing storyline on television, Omega will feud with Kazuchika Okada, when he returns after being replaced in the Elite. Okada just won the Continental Championship from Eddie Kingston a week ago on Dynamite, and they are bringing the Continental Championship into the fold and a rekindling of their feud when Omega gets back on AEW television. Kenny Omega is only going to add to AEW television when he comes back. And right now, with the way things are with this roster and them nearing almost full health, Adam Cole, MJF, and Kenny Omega are still out. Just imagine with them being back what that main event scene is going to look like. They're not even there, and it's fucking great. Imagine when they're back. Omega needs to get healthy. There's absolutely zero rush to bring him back to television. With the way the Young Bucks and Okada have been doing right now on television, they are entertaining enough to keep this thing going until Omega gets back. I know everybody's hoping that he'll be ready for All In because a stage like that, a venue like that, an event like that with that match, I mean, that's the perfect setting for it, but sometimes things don't work out that way. I would rather Kenny Omega get healthy so we have a longer career for Kenny Omega on television instead of something that's going to take him off television and never bring him back. So I am okay with him. Just get better. I wish him nothing but the best. I can't wait for him to get back. I'm very intrigued about what is going to happen when he gets back and rekindles this feud with Okada. And finally, guys, backstage news on the use of blood on WWE television moving forward. Now, we saw blood on Monday, Cody's blood, all over the weight belt that Rock took off of his waist that said Mama Rhodes on it. So the prophecy has been fulfilled. Now, all The Rock has to do is hand it to Mama Rhodes. I know. Listen, I love the blood. I think it's great. Now, Rhodes was bleeding from his forehead. Rock took off his weight belt, rubbed Cody's blood on the belt, and said, I kept my promise to Mama Rhodes. This was the latest build for The Rock and the undisputed champion, Roman Reigns, against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40, Night 1's headliner. Blood on WWE television has been banned for years, to a point where matches have had to be paused. Referees put on gloves so a wrestler could be bandaged up before continuing the match and able to compete, as Vince McMahon did not allow it. It got to a point where after a steel cage match on Raw between Chris Jericho and Batista, fines were given out because Batista was busted open the hard way. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that he was told that going forward, please take it with a grain of salt, I know it's Meltzer. He was told that going forward, it will be used very rarely. There are no plans to turn it into AEW where it's used more liberally. And in this case, The Rock wanted it for the angle, and it happened. Because The Rock, what he wants is what The Rock gets. I don't want to see blood on WWE television every week. Not like Jon Moxley bleed. I know. I don't want to see Jon Moxley bleeding either every fucking week. I know. I don't like it. I don't want to see Cody bleeding every week either. But the thing is, I know she's very vocal when she wakes up. I get it. I apologize. I know. Thank you. Cody Rhodes. I don't want to see Cody Rhodes bleeding every week on television. Only in the biggest matches and under the biggest circumstances. When a feud ends, if we get Hell in a Cell, there should be blood. If there's Elimination Chamber, there should be a little, I'm not saying buckets of blood. Elimination Chamber, a little dose of color. Hell in a Cell, a little dose of color. A ladder match, maybe a little dose of color. War Games, a little dose of color, because those environments need that extra oomph. And especially with a feud like this, if it's this type of feud, The Rock and Cody, a little blood goes a long way. I want to see some blood on night one. I want to see a little bit of blood on night two, especially if it's bloodline rules, and there are no rules. A little bit of blood goes a long way, adds to the overall epicness of the match, and Cody finishing his story. Only under certain circumstances and in certain matches. I don't want to see Nia Jax versus Candice LeRae. Oh, there you go, man. Let's add some blood to it. No, we don't need that. So I'm okay with them being a little bit more liberal with the blood as long as it makes sense and the environment calls for it. That's when they should really bring it in. AEW should really take a lesson. No more weapons weekly and no more blood weekly. But that's what I think would be best for WWE. Guys, thank you very much for all your support. If you enjoyed today's Extra, please let me know what you think of these stories down below. Tonight, I'll see you live for SmackDown. We'll be live on YouTube, 11:30. I think it's Monday, 10:30 Eastern. Tonight, I'll be live for the SmackDown post. Join me then. Follow me on social media for all the latest updates at JD from NY206. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And make sure you guys go check out all the other videos on the channel. There are plenty of videos there for you guys to catch up on. I'll see you guys tonight live for SmackDown. Until then, enjoy Fridays. And I got more news coming right here on Off the Script. We'll see you guys later.